The ballroom shimmered with gold and glass, the kind of place where the air itself smelled like money. Chandeliers hung like frozen fireworks, glittering over the sea of designer suits and diamond smiles. Everyone who was anyone in finance was there for the annual Global Business Visionaries Gala, a night to honor the leaders shaping the world's economy. At the center of it all was Elaine Whitford, tall, confident, and effortlessly composed. At 47, she was the chief investment officer of one of New York's most prestigious hedge funds. Her handshake was as famous as her instincts, firm, quick, and reserved only for people who mattered. That night, she wore a white silk gown that gleamed under the lights, her blonde hair pinned neatly, every strand in its place. To Elaine, this wasn't just a gala, it was a stage, and she was about to meet the new business sensation everyone had been whispering about. Elaine, said her assistant, leaning in, that's him, the one from Vanguard Systems, the new tech firm everyone's talking about. Elaine turned her head and followed her assistant's gaze. Across the room stood Darius Cole, tall, dressed in a simple black tuxedo, his skin dark as onyx, his expression calm and hurried. He had founded Vanguard Systems, a company revolutionizing logistics AI, and in just 5 years, his valuation had soared past $12 billion. But Elaine didn't see that. What she saw was a man who didn't belong. When Darius approached with a polite smile, extending his hand, Elaine hesitated. For just a second, barely a heartbeat, but enough for everyone nearby to notice, her hand stayed by her side, and she gave him a tight, polite smile instead. Mr. Cole, she said coolly, a pleasure. The air thickened. Darius' smile didn't falter. He slowly lowered his hand. Likewise, Miss Whitford, he said quietly. I've heard great things. He moved on. But whispers followed. The next morning, the sun rose over Manhattan's skyline, but inside Whitford Capital, the atmosphere was anything but bright. The company's servers were flooded with red alerts, stock screens flashed warning signals, billions in assets were vanishing, trades reversing, accounts draining, and no one could explain why. Elaine, her head of operations, shouted, bursting into her office. We've lost nearly $2.4 billion overnight. Her coffee slipped from her hand, shattering across the marble floor. What do you mean lost? She demanded. Our algorithm triggered a cascade of failed trades. It's like it was outsmarted. Every move we made, someone was ahead of us by milliseconds. It's surgical, precise. Elaine's pulse thundered in her ears, her life's work, her reputation collapsing in real time. Within hours, the story hit the media. Whitford Capital suffers record-breaking loss, $2.4 billion gone overnight. Investors panicked, calls poured in. Reporters gathered outside her office. Her partners blamed her. And somewhere across the city in a quiet corner office with no gold or marble, Darius Cole sat by his window, looking out at the skyline, sipping black coffee. His assistant entered with a tablet. Whitford Capital just imploded, she said. They were running a predatory trade network on emerging startups, small AI firms, logistics companies, solar innovators. They crushed 3 of our partners last quarter. Darius didn't smile. I know, he said softly. That's why I made sure the playing field corrected itself. That evening, the city that never slept felt strangely muted to Elaine. Her phone had stopped ringing, a silence more terrifying than the noise before. Her penthouse felt too big, too empty. The wine glass trembled in her hand as she tried to piece together what had gone wrong. She opened her laptop again, scrolling through reports, trying to find the codes. That's when she saw it, a tiny message embedded deep in the failed trade log, hidden within lines of code. Respect isn't optional. Her breath caught. She blinked. No signature. No company ID, just those 3 words. A chill ran down her spine. 3 weeks later, Elaine sat in a crowded coffee shop, the kind of place she never used to step into. Her career had crumbled. The fund was gone. Her name was splashed across every business headline. With a collapse, billion-dollar misstep. She looked around at the people, students studying, delivery workers laughing over cheap sandwiches, a man in a rumpled suit talking to the barista like they were old friends. It was strange. She'd lived in this city all her life, but never seen it before. The door opened, and a familiar voice ordered a coffee. Calm, deep, polite. Elaine froze when she turned. Darius Cole was standing at the counter, phone in hand, no entourage, no assistants, just him. For a moment, she considered walking out, but something inside her shifted. She stood up, took a deep breath, and walked toward him. Oh, Mr. Cole, she said quietly. He turned, surprised. Recognition flashed in his eyes. Ms. Whitford, I owe you an apology, she said, her voice trembling slightly. For that night, for how I treated you. He studied her face for a long moment. Then, without a word, he extended his hand. She took it this time. It was warm, steady, not the handshake of an enemy, but of a teacher. People make mistakes, he said finally. The question is whether they learn from them. Elaine nodded. I did. He smiled, a small, genuine smile. Then maybe it wasn't a total loss. A few months later, a quiet headline appeared on the back page of a business magazine. Former hedge fund executive launches new startup to support minority entrepreneurs. It didn't make front page news. It didn't go viral. But in a small office in Brooklyn, a group of young innovators worked under the mentorship of someone who used to believe she knew everything about power, until she learned what it really meant, and among her early investors was Vanguard Systems. The world moved on as it always does, but in boardrooms across New York, people still whispered about the night Elaine Whitford refused a handshake and how by sunrise, $2.4 billion had vanished into thin air. Some called it karma, others called it poetic justice, but those who knew Darius Cole called it something else, a lesson.